Okay people, follow the guide and let's dive into our crater. In front of us we see the Himalaya. Let's follow this mountain ridge and that brings us to Africa. In the middle there you see the Mediterranean Sea and Europe. Move to the right and yes, Greenland is a continent, people. Let's zoom out to the Americas, lying at the wrong place as you see. On the right there you see a hidden sea, but more about that later. Let's move on people, follow the guide. Zoom in on Australia. And finally some land masses like Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia and India. So this is the end of our tour and may I present you the final crater Earth map. And finally let's have an overview and put in the continents. Don't forget the guide please. And here it is, the official new world map. Let's take a look now at the hidden sea. Let's zoom in. You clearly see two passages there. That brings you out of our crater. And when you go to the right into Antarctica, that brings you to Mount Miro, from where you have a beautiful view on our continents. So the few years I have been making videos now, people have been sending me messages to look into the convex Earth. Well, they were right. We also have a clue of Walt Hitler, showing us the hidden sea and also the passage to it. So someone asked me, hey, what about your escape from flat earth theory? What happened to it? Well, let me show you what I think they did. For this example I will paint two mountains in white. So now let's zoom in into the first one, the closest one to South America. This one has been presented to us as being a part of Antarctica, but let's zoom out. There you see the real peak of Antarctica. Take a look at the Google Maps view. So they just took the silhouette of the Antarctica peak and they swamped places. Now, if by any chance an admiral on a battleship would be listening to this video, and that would be one chance in a trillion, I would advise him, take your battleship and follow the yellow brick road. That would bring you to the gateway out of our crater. But be careful, be aware. You will meet some heavy artillery fire. By doing this, you would be of great service to humanity. You would show the world the bigger Earth and free us from our crater prison. Back to reality. Let's go back to the subject of the movement of the sun. Some people reacted in the comment that I made a mistake. They were right, because the sun was rising in the west. I guess I was thinking from left to right, and I forgot that Japan is the land of the rising sun, of course. Some people were suggesting I should use the analemma, and then I would only need one sun. But as you see in the example, there are holes in the time frame. For the moment, I'm going to keep on working with the two systems. We'll see how this evolves. Let's make an animation with the new map. And here you see, when one system is fading out, the other system is moving in. Let's zoom in on the first system. Moving over the Americas, going down, and there you see the sun is moving across the hidden sea. That is probably the reason it is not frozen. And back to its starting point. Let's zoom in on the second sun, that might be more interesting. First, take a freeze frame. I think this is the international date line. From there the sun is moving to the left. Let's slow it down a bit. So at the position where you would have the Greenwich meridian line, the sun is moving towards Antarctica. I think the international date line is actually the silhouette of our crater. Now you have a counter-rotating system. Here with 4 suns, 2 suns. But now I have a new problem, because the sun is rising in the west, in the Americas. A solution might be you have 2 compasses, one normal and one inverted. That might be very useful when you are falsifying flight routes. So now I might be debunking my own theory of north lines and south lines, but that's okay, because I'm making these videos to find the truth and not for being right. Let's return to our supercomputer Ra. A very interesting video might be one of Godgevlamster, where he reconstructs the Hebrew letters with a sine wave in a torus.
I'm going to basically be going around, this is the 0 place, and we're going to go around every 45 degrees around the middle. We go around, and you're going to view 8 of the letters, the top and the bottom. See that? That's the origin of the heart shape. And also view from the bottom, you'll have one of the letters also. We'll go through it all.
Another interesting figure is Nassim Haramein. In his first videos, he explains that Yahweh is a tetragrammaton.
So I split them in 2, and then I slid the bottom part into the top part. Match the lines to generate the star tetrahedron. I would have 8 star tetrahedrons coming together to generate the 64 tetrahedron grid.
The 64 tetrahedron. You could fit Metatron's cube in it, or the double Solomon star the Atlanteans are using to terraform our crater. So you could put the 64 tetrahedron on our crater. The first Solomon star within the center Solomon, Jerusalem. The second one, the third one, and that fits into the 64 tetrahedron. which is in my view the ley lines. So I think you can put this one in the garbage can. Now you can start pulling in this pattern with buildings. With obeliska, basilica, cathedra, pyramids, ziggurats. You see, all these words refer to the Baraka system. Now you have three possibilities. The supercomputer Ra is hovering above the Earth and the Earth is spinning around. Second possibility, Ra is spinning around above a motionless ball Earth. Or possibility 3, they are both spinning. May I present you Terra, or the Taurus of Ra. Ra is ruling with terror, playing God, the creator. The Ka in the Taurus of Ra. So crater is also the Ka in the Taurus of Ra. For people who saw my video, the Vikings were Jews. In that video I explained that I think that English is reversed Hebrew. When you reverse Terra, you get the word Carrette. What would Scotty from Star Trek say to Captain Kirk? Scotty would say, "Alright, Captain, let's get our spaceship back to planet Carrette."
Walt Disney presents
Let's walk around in the park of Uncle Walt. Hey, look, that's Joaquin and Boaz. This park must have cost a fortune. I wonder where Uncle Walt got all this money. Tell us all about it, Uncle Walt.
This map. Our Florida land is located partly in Orange County. This map. Our Florida land is located partly in Orange County.
One of my viewers said that the word Disneyland sounded like this new land. Good find, Elke. Thanks. As I showed in the previous videos, the Disneyland is a copy of our crater. But did you know that Walt Disney also created a Disney World? This new world. Well, tell us all about it, Uncle Walt.
Here is Walt Disney. Welcome to a little bit of Florida here in California. Today I want to share with you some of our ideas for Disney World. Now, the prologue to this film told you some of the philosophy that made Disneyland in California what it is today. Of course, there will be another amusement theme park in Florida similar to the one in California. We're now developing a master plan that encompasses the theme park and all the facilities around it that will serve the tourists. Hotels, motels, and a variety of recreation activities. In fact, just this little area alone is 5 times the size of Disneyland in California. But as you can see on this master plan, the theme park and all the other tourist facilities fill just one small area of our enormous Florida project.
Put our crater on Disneyland and zoom out. So I don't have to explain you that Uncle Walt is showing us the surroundings of crater Earth. But Uncle Walt, why is crater Earth that small on your map?
Just this little area alone is 5 times the size of Disneyland in California.
Ah. Okay then, let's make a comparison. Okay. Okay, maybe we should look at our 3D map. But first you have to realize that if our crater is 40,000 kilometers, this whole area is about 400,000 kilometers. Now let's have a side view and the 5 most important pieces of the map. You will see that they are situated on elevations in the terrain.
Right now our plans include an airport of the future down here in Osceola County.
Airport of the future. Well, let's take a look. But why is this airport situated that far from our crater? Well, probably it's the only terrain suitable for an airport. But how on earth are you going to get an airplane at 400,000 kilometers from Earth? Well, you put an airplane on a rocket and you shoot it into the exosphere. So I suppose you can fly at higher speeds in the exosphere, and from there you can come down like a paraglider, landing on the bigger Earth. My guess would be that in that way they brought about 100 shuttles onto the bigger Earth.
An entrance complex where all visitors will enter Disney World.
Okay, the entrance complex. Look at the circular mountains in the middle. What kind of visitors are they expecting?
An industrial park area covering about 1,000 acres.
The industrial park area. Let's take a look.
And of course, the theme park area way up here. And all these varied activities around the Disney World will be tied together by a high-speed, rapid transit system running almost the full length of the property. But the most exciting, by far the most important part of our Florida project, in fact, the heart of everything we'll be doing in Disney World, will be our experimental prototype city of tomorrow. We call it Epcot, spelled E-P-C-O-T, Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. Here it is in larger scale.
No, I would call it extraterrestrial, psychopathic city of today. This one is quite obvious, the circular form on the left, the mountains in the middle. Let's take a look now at the silhouette of the water. It's almost like a boot. Zoom in on this little house here. The door into the house.
Epcot will take its cue from the new ideas and new technologies that are now emerging from the creative centers of American industry. It will be a community of tomorrow that will never be completed, but will always be introducing and testing and demonstrating new materials and new systems.
Let's look at another view of Epcot's transportation hub and see how traffic flows through the heart of the city on 3 separate levels. At the bottom of the stack is the truck route, reserved for supply vehicles. Trucks will have easy access to all loading docks and service elevators for the delivery of commercial goods. The middle level is the automobile throughway, exclusively for cars. But automobiles and freeways will not be Epcot's major way of entering and leaving the city. The transportation heartbeat of Epcot will be the 2 electric-powered systems, monorail and wedway, that radiate to and from the transportation lobby. And the key system in this coordinated network will be the wedway people mover.
Take a look at the Epcot position on the moon map. So I painted it with some colors. This location is actually quite near our crater. For people who saw my video Escape from Flat Earth, I already mentioned I suspected there to be an underground base. So this will probably be Epcot. So the Gnome King is probably Walt Disney. And as you see, there are other colonies surrounding our crater. What we see here is Uncle Walt, Imperator. The prison ward is setting out the plan for the next 100 years. Uncle Walt is showing the cult members what territory they are going to colonize, and probably warning the other cults to stay away, while the ignorant slaves are locked up in their prison. A little blue ball-shaped prison. Space is not up there, it's down here. There's an enormous territory to be colonized. And what about the people living in Epcot? What are they thinking? Do they know the existence of the bigger Earth? They are probably prisoners too. I'm not a number. I'm a free man.
Where am I? In the village. What do you want? Information. Whose side are you on? That would be telling. We want information. 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 You won't get it. By hook or by crook, we will. Who are you? The new number 2. Who is number 1? You are number 6. I am not a number. I am a free man.
But sadly enough, Uncle Walt dies. Walter E. Disney dies. Or should we say, alter ego Disney dies. So, new leaders, new plans. So they built a new Epcot theme park with in the center a big ball, spaceship Earth, our little prison. Inside the ball you can see an exposition about world history, all fake of course. Watch my video Empire of the False Christ. The Death Star, it's like a crater in a bigger Earth. Let's remind the words of Mr. Juncker.
Il faut savoir que ceux qui nous observent de loin sont inquiets. J'ai vu et entendu et écouté plusieurs des dirigeants d'autres planètes qui sont très inquiets parce qu'ils s'interrogent sur la voie que l'Union européenne va poursuivre. Et donc il faut rassurer et les Européens et ceux qui nous observent de plus loin.
Okay, people, I wasn't going to be back that fast. I was going to give it a rest for a while, but I received a vital piece of information which I want to share with you as fast as I can. Because today I received a mail from some guy and he said, "Where did I see that crater before?" And he shared a link. So I started looking at this video, nothing special, a typical NASA bullshit movie. Well, that was what I thought. So I asked this person, "Where do you want me to look at?" But in the meantime I was looking at this piece of video and the only thing I could think of was he was trying to show me a crater. And the only footage where you would possibly see a crater was this, what you are looking at now. So I watched it again and again, and I don't know if you see it, but now I see it. So what we are looking at right now is something like this. On the left you see our moon crater Sulpicius Gallus M, our biosphere, and on the right the footage of the shuttle. So I would think that we are looking now at the first moving pictures of our crater. Let's take a freeze frame and make some comparisons. Remember, the light is coming from the other side on the shuttle footage. Sirius B, Epcot, the hillside, and let's take a look at the crater itself. Take a close-up and there you see prison planet Earth, the ice wall. Well, some people might have their doubts, but I'm pretty sure this is real. Another thing you notice, of course, is the atmosphere on the bigger Earth. And yes guys, sorry, it's a ball. Some flat earthers are not going to like that. And if this is the real speed where they are flying with, well, if these are images of astronauts flying above the bigger Earth, then all the astronauts must be in on the secret. That means they can all be convicted for crimes against humanity. I understand, of course, they are little soldiers being blackmailed, terrorized, so it would be hard for them to leak out the truth. But like I said before, you have a responsibility for humanity. Besides, the game is over now. So I would say, open the gates or face the consequences.
Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon line and Crew Dragon, good NASA, good space act, Godspeed, bottom dog. America has launched. So rises the new era of American spaceflight and witness the ambitions of its
So a bit later I wanted to show this email to my wife, but it was gone. Well, what a strange story. I've been thinking about it all day. I think what we see here is disclosure from someone with inside information. This is not the fake alien disclosure, but the real disclosure. So I would like to thank this person for his courage. And if it were a message from some crackpot, I would congratulate him with his luck. What are the chances? Well, if this is true, we might be seeing the first cracks in the system. So I would ask you people, if you are bored and you don't know what to do, well, it might be time to take a look at all these shuttle images and look for some craters. Compare them with the lunar surface. And if you want to take a boat and cross the ice wall, please make it back alive. Take some pictures. We need more proof. Okay, that's it. Finally, I want to thank all you people who sent some really nice messages to me with some encouragements, some ideas, links to videos, occasionally a troll here and there. Sadly, I cannot react to every comment because it's just too much. Thanks to Quantum of Conscience. And a special thanks to John Levi for linking my channel. It was like a tsunami that was hitting my channel with thousands of subscribers and reactions and, well, quite a journey. Thanks again. Bye. For people who are not familiar with my work, let's recapitulate. You shoot a shuttle in orbit of the bigger Earth. You make a 3D scan of the bigger Earth and you present it to the people as being the moon map. If this is true, the moon map and the shuttle images will be the same. Let's examine if we find some more proof of that.
Doing up there, and we all look forward to your return and their return later on here to Earth. Bill, we certainly enjoyed the opportunity to talk to Mike, and boy, he sure seems in good spirits. Thanks for setting that up.
It was a pleasure, and we sure appreciate you folks letting us listen along with you. If you want to let us and else go for you, yes, your first you and there's else as we are.
Men bästa skatter, stycken research men, ja, men after those nailers, you would man.
Here we have our first image. Let's compare that with the moon map of our crater. So these are the second images I found of our crater Sulpicius Gallus M. Let's look at another one. First, take a look at two big craters, and then move along to our crater, the crater under the white line. Let's make a simulation with a moving moon map. You see the two big craters on the right. I think this is the landscape we are looking at. Take a look at this one, a gigantic whirlwind moving in a crater. And a spiral of clouds in the center, which proves there is a climate on the bigger Earth. Another one. So let's compare that with the first one. And on the right you see Epcot, and on the left our crater. This one is a tricky one. I'm not quite sure of it, but I suspect this is another one. This one I'm showing because of all the craters. Do you know a place on Earth with that amount of craters on the surface? I don't.
For example, Mars has the highest volcano in the world, in the known solar system.
When I'm looking at the pictures of the shuttle, the two most important subjects they are showing are crater Earth and crater Mars. Here we are looking at images of what I think is the crater, half of it. On the moon map it would be something like this. And you stop at the half of the crater. It would be something like this if you show the complete image. Let's do another simulation with the moon map. And stop on the half of the crater. Let's make a detailed comparison and start with this pale spot there on the left and compare it with a rock. This is, in my view, the silhouette of this mountain. Move along and make a freeze frame and zoom in on the right. The line of dots I call the feather. The feather will reappear in other images. Move along and let's take a look at the silhouette of the crater. Compare that with the moon crater Mars, Hadley C on the map. Look at the black African-like silhouette. Let's take a look at the snake, which I think is a big river. When you take a look at the soil, you see it's kind of reddish, like in Africa. So that's why they call it the red planet. Now some more images of Mars. The first thing you see is an enormous ocean, and there you see the snake-like figure. The shuttle camera is zooming in, and then you know they are showing you something. This is it, I think. You might be missing some part of the river, but when you zoom in, here it is. Some detailed comparison. You have the feather again, and the crater itself looks a bit weird. It only makes sense when you add this line here. Moving down, you see the mountains reflected in the dome as the asteroid belt. Well, here is your exploded planet. This one I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's also Mars, that tiny little crater. In the next one we see Earth and Mars in one video. First flip the images vertically and compare with the moon map. Let's add some water. Let's start flying and look at the bottom picture, the blue. You will see some flickering in the water. So there is water near our crater. On the bottom video you will see that the camera is turning. That means they are showing you something. This is another image of our crater. Let me show you what you have to look at. Add some light spots on the top image. And this is our crater. The blue one almost looks like a turtle. Here it is. Take a look at the silhouette of the water. And let's move along to Mars. Lying in the mountains. There you have the mountains, bathing in sunlight. And Mars must be approximately there. If these images are real time, that means that you can fly from Earth to Mars in about 2 minutes. Well, when you are looking for the silhouette of our crater, you are looking for a keyhole. What is the most famous keyhole on the planet? That is the Vatican, of course. Take a look at the map of the Vatican in Rome. So my assumption would be that the Basilico San Pietro is Epcot. The Piazza San Pietro is the hillside, and Castel Sant'Angelo is our crater, the pentagram, and of course the Tiber. If this is true, they must know for a long time how our crater looked like. Castel Sant'Angelo was built in 135 AD and the Basilica Papale in 1506. So in 1506 they knew the existence of Epcot. One of my viewers thinks that Epcot stands for Ape-cot. In Flemish and Dutch, an ape-cot, apecot, is the cage of the monkey. Us being the apes, of course. He thinks that some material of our bodies is detained in an ape-cot, cathedral-like system. A bit like this. And it's being parasited on. Some people are reacting in the comments and they say, you are using images of NASA. NASA are liars. Absolutely, NASA are liars. But we have to use the weapons of the enemy against them. I will use the images of NASA, of the shuttle, to prove they are conning the whole world. And once this is getting mainstream, you can say goodbye to NASA and all the parasites. So now I will show a few images who are CGI'd. And one of their main targets they love is the Red Sea. Probably because it's close to Egypt, home of the Atlanteans, the parasites. So you just add a fake curvature. Here another example. Look closely to the Red Sea. There's absolutely no perspective in the Red Sea. And what they are doing here, they are just moving a black curved belt. Give me 5 minutes. Once in a while they put in some high altitude images. This one I think they put in there on purpose, because it's too obvious. They are playing a very clever game. They want especially the flat earthers to think it's all CGI, because the flying ball circus people are not going to check out these images. Again, it's the story of the red pill or the blue pill. Well, I don't want any pill. I want the guy who is giving me the pill.
Then you get up above the earth. You look down on the beautiful earth, and you see evidence of mankind down on the earth, both good and bad. And you look out in the heavens, you see the comet, you see the moon, you see the stars rising and setting over the earth limb. You realize that you really are very small and very, very lucky.
And a very big liar too. I wonder what all those people are going to tell to their grandchildren. Grandpa was a big liar.
I told everybody that I was flying over a little blue ball in space. Sorry, people.
Yeah, sure. Remorse comes after the sin. Well, thanks a lot for watching, and I will keep looking for evidence, which I'm sure I will find. There's lots of other shuttle stuff on the internet, so keep watching, keep reacting. Thanks to everybody. Bye.